welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, and a very happy St. Patrick's Day from everybody here at Prime Sports World. On today's episode of the Prime, we're going to give you a recap of the 2026 NFL free agency cycle. As Christian, I got my hat on, I got my beads here, ready to talk NFL free agency with the one and only from the Daily Blitz.blog, Mr. Christian Simpson. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point Huffman. And as we're going through the show, if you got any comments about anything going on in NFL free agency, if you have a big winner, you have a big loser, you got some question marks when it comes to what's been going on in the National Football League over the last couple weeks, we'll answer those questions as we receive them here on the show. Christian, happy St. Patrick's Day, man. I know you're probably not Irish, but you're at least a little Irish on St. Patrick's Day.
Look, man, all I know is I'm blickety black. Okay, that's all I know. But happy St. Patty's Day to you and to everyone that's celebrating. And I actually have some green on myself, Dave. So
good for you. Let's go, baby. Yeah, represent, man. Before we get into talk about NFL free agency, let's talk about breaking news. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos, who have been eerily quiet this free agency cycle. Their biggest move that they had made up until this point here today, before we'll get into what they just did, is they brought back J.K. Dobbins. Is basically the biggest thing that they've done in this free agency cycle, but not anymore, as they have traded a first, a fourth, and a third in this upcoming draft, and got back Jalen Waddle along with a 2026. And they got a fourth round back as well. So it's a Jalen Waddle and a fourth for a first, a third, and a fourth. What are your thoughts of this trade? And did the Broncos give up too much for Jalen Waddle, a wide receiver that, yes, a couple years ago did have put up crazy numbers alongside Tyreek Hill, but has regressed a little bit over the last couple seasons? What do you make of this trade, and what do you think of this? Did the Broncos give up too much, yes or no?
I won't say they necessarily gave up too much, but I like the deal. You know, when he was in college, you notice the speed, you notice the ability to create and separate. He can get downfield, and to be honest, David, they needed another weapon alongside Cortland Sutton, because who was really that number two option? Was Marvin Mims? Was it
Little Jordan Humphrey?
Was it Little Jordan Humphrey? Yeah, but see, those guys don't scare you. I mean, they wouldn't scare me as a defensive player. But Jalen Waddle puts fear into my secondary. He can go up for the ball. He can track it. He can, he's great after the catch. He can go over the middle. He can make those tough, contested 50-50 catches. So I thought this was a good move, and it gives Bo Nix another weapon down the field.
I do like it as a concept for Jalen Waddle to be on this Denver Broncos team, but this feels rich to me. A guy who's kind of feels like he's checked out in Miami. I mean, obviously, Miami hasn't really done anything the last couple seasons, but it just feels like he hasn't been. But maybe he'll be revitalized, and maybe that's what Sean Payton is banking on, the fact that I could get this guy in my system. Because, I mean, up until like Tyreek Hill, I mean, he was pretty just a wide receiver until Tyreek Hill got there, and then he became a number two. And my question for you, I guess, is when he goes over there to Denver, is he the number one now, or do you think Cortland Sutton is still the number one wide receiver in Denver, or do you think there's just like who is that number one guy now?
I think it's still Cortland. But
I don't know. I think Jalen Waddle
Jalen has the possibility to go and snatch that, because I just don't think, he's ever really had the chance to show and prove what he can do as the guy. He was the number two behind Tyreek Hill, and, I know he was a number one for a period of time under Nick Saban at Alabama, but now, I mean, I think this is kind of like I don't want to say a reset, but it's the ability for him to show.
It definitely is a reset for Jalen Waddle. He gets an opportunity to go somewhere new. I mean, obviously they want you because they traded for you. This is I think for Jalen Waddle, it's an absolute home run. You get to go to somewhere where you're going to compete next season,
Definitely.
and you don't have to deal with Patrick Surtain because he's on your team now. So that's also a big bonus. But I mean, you're not going to be going up against, the Jets twice a year. I mean, the Patriots, who have been terrible up until last season, for the last couple of seasons. I mean, this is a division. I mean, outside the Raiders, I mean, this is a division that's pretty loaded, and they have good defenses that they're going to have to go up against. I'm a little bit skeptical about the compensation for Jalen Waddle. I probably would have kept a third-round pick. I'm not sure. I mean, you're not going to get somebody better than Jalen Waddle with the 30th overall pick in this upcoming draft. That's just period. That's not going to happen. Jalen Waddle will be better than whoever that was going to be. And he's in a Verdonko's team that has been very quiet in free agency. They needed to make this move just for the fan base in general, just to be like, hey, we're like, I mean, we'll see. I think they gave up too much, but I think it was a move they had to make.
Yeah, it was definitely a move they had to make. Maybe this could be that piece that could put them over the top, in the AFC. I mean, look, they were a game away from the Super Bowl, David.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if Bo Nix doesn't fracture his ankle in that game against the Buffalo Bills, maybe we're having a totally different conversation right now.
I agree.
Let's move into the NFL free agency. We got winners, losers, best contract, worst contract, best value, worst value, and then the head scratching. Let's start on the positive side here, because we're a Positive Pete show here at Prime Sports World most of the time anyways. As I didn't mention at the beginning of the show, if you're interested in what we're doing here at Prime Sports World, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. And if you like what Christian's doing, go check him out over there at the dailyblitz.blog. Let's talk about some winners, and I got a big winner, the Rams. They had one major hole in their team, and they addressed it with stealing 2 corners from the Chiefs. First, they traded for Trent McDuffie, giving up a first-round pick, home run trade. I don't know what it is about the Kansas City Chiefs and their unwillingness to trade corners. They just must think that good corners just pop up everywhere in the draft. Like, you can just get them anywhere, because this is the second guy they didn't pay. L'Jarius Sneed a couple of years ago, or maybe it was just last year. But Trent McDuffie is like an all-pro, and you're not going to – like, those guys don't grow on trees. And for the Rams to get him and just give up a first-round pick, and then to get Watson later in free agency, so you get your big need. You had 2 corners because you got gashed up by Seattle in the NFC Championship game. You had major needs at corner. You dressed both of them. You get 2 guys that are going to start for you and make you the favorites in the NFC now. That's a home run for me.
I like that. I mean, I have a couple, but I got
a couple too.
David,
we'll ping pong. Come on, we'll ping pong.
I'm gonna say the Buffalo Bills. And look, we said all throughout last year, what did the Buffalo Bills need to do? They needed to go and get a true number 1 wide receiver, and they did that. They go and they acquired DJ Moore from the Chicago Bears. Look, you kind of saw the writing on the wall for him to be dealt, because there was just too many weapons across the board for this Bears offense, and they weren't really incorporating him as much as we saw in previous seasons. But DJ, he's 6 feet. He's the cross between Deebo Samuel and Chris Godwin. He's a yak guy like Chris, yards after the catch, and then he's versatile. He comes in, he immediately gives Josh Allen a true number 1 wide receiver. And to me, I think this puts the Bills back up top, the AFC East.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I like the DJ Moore trade. I think the Bills did a good job, just building around the fringe, because they didn't really have a lot of cap space. So they had, in order to maneuver. I know Josh Allen took a bit of a pay cut in order to make some of that stuff work out. They bring back Dawson Knox, which I do like. They bring back Connor McGovern as well, and then they bring in Bradley Chubb. I mean, when he's healthy, he's been very good. The problem with Bradley Chubb is
he can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy. And I do like them getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson as well in that secondary, a secondary that they desperately needed to improve. I like that Buffalo Bills. And I don't know if you're going to talk about one of the teams that I had as my winners, but I'm gonna see if you don't say I'm next, I'm taking them. And I got the Ravens as a big winner. I know they lose Tyler Linderbaum, but being able to keep 2 first-round picks and being able to pivot to Trey Hendrickson, while the controversy is still out there because looks shady, feels shady, but bringing in Trey Hendrickson, who's only a couple years younger. You don't have to give up 2 first-round picks. I think that's a win for the Baltimore Ravens. An unfortunate situation for Max Crosby. We'll get to him in the rate. I think the Raiders are kind of a winner too, but given the stuff that they did around that trade, but I got the Ravens as a winner.
I like what the New York Giants have done.
Let's go, baby. Yeah.
I really like what the New York Giants have done. They've been aggressive.
That's what I was going to say, but I was waiting to see if you said it next.
Listen, they're swinging the bat, and they're actually getting hits now. I mean, John has brought in guys who will play for him in Baltimore, but the move I really like was the signing of Isaiah Likely, and I thought he should have been TE1 in Baltimore. No disrespect to Mark Andrews, but I just think Isaiah Likely does a little bit more. He's that prototypical modern day tight end, the guy that you can line up wide on the perimeter, use as a tight end, use in a slot. You know who he reminds me of, David? I'm gonna take it back here. Remember Julius Thomas that used to play for the? He reminds me of him a lot in many different ways of the game. But I really like what the Giants are doing. Going out, getting Tremaine Edmonds to kind of be the quarterback of that defense. And the Giants could be brewing something up in East Rutherford.
I also liked what the Giants said. That's the team that I was teasing in my last. And then I'm going to swing into the AFC and another guy who brought in a bunch of his guys to also re-recruit around a young quarterback. It's the Tennessee Titans. I love the win of that Wan'Dale Robinson signing, 4 years, $78 million. He played with Brian Daboll there with the Giants. So you bring in Danny Bellinger. I didn't really like the Tavondre Sweat trade, bringing back Jermaine Johnson II. But that's neither here nor there. I love bringing in John Franklin Myers to boof up that defensive line. You bring in 2 corners as well that have some upside. I like what the Titans did. I also like that the Titans changed up there. If you didn't know, the Titans now have a new official primary logo. I like it a lot.
I actually like the Jermaine Johnson deal because he played for.
I don't get it.
He played.
I know he played for Robert Saleh, but Tavondre Sweat was only in his second season. He had some off the field stuff that made him drop in the draft last season. But I mean, I just don't like punting on guys that you just drafted. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and okay, since we're still talking about winners, there's one they've kind of been under the radar, and I'm gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers for a couple reasons. One, they finally got another weapon to play alongside DK Metcalf. Acquire Michael Pittman from the Indianapolis Colts, and this is another big body receiver that can stretch the field and go over the top vertically. And they also got Rico Dowdle. So this shows me that they want to kind of get back to running the football, and I think this can work if they commit to it, David.
I agree with you on the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's the big elephant in the room though with the Pittsburgh Steelers, because if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, none of the rest of it matters.
Listen.
They need to figure out what's going on.
If I'm the Steelers, I would consider seeing what you can get out of Will Howard. You drafted him.
But he's a 6th round pick. He's probably not. I guess if there is a scenario where Aaron Rodgers decides to retire, which who knows, right? But right. Yes, what they did on paper, sounds nice with Aaron Rodgers in the building. If Aaron Rodgers is not in the building, none of it matters.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm staying in that area of the United States, but I'm going to go into Washington. I'm going to talk about the Commanders. I like what they did in free agency as well. Getting Chigga Kongwu, I think he has raw talent. I just think he's been underutilized there in Tennessee. Bringing him in, obviously, unfortunately, Zach Ertz is going to probably miss the majority of next season with that injury that he suffered. But what was it, like the final week of the season? He tore that ACL. So Chigga Kongwu is a very talented tight end. They bring in, Clavon Chason. You bring in and make this defense younger. You bring in Rashad White on a pretty team-friendly contract that I do like as a kind of a change of pace running back. You bring in Odafe Owe to get younger at the defensive line. I kind of like what the Commanders did. This feels like a team that's going to try to bounce back after a pretty disappointing season last year with all the injuries that they had. I like what the Commanders did here.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that. I like the moves that the Cowboys have also made, going out, getting Rashawn Gary, and that just goes to show you, the point of emphasis. They want to get back to playing stingy defense. Have a whole new defensive coordinator now because I don't really think they had one last year in Matt Eberflus. But
I mean, they brought in PJ Locke. I like him too.
Yeah.
You
Listen.
keep Brandon Aubrey in the building. You re-sign Javonte Williams.
Listen, David, the problem with the Cowboys wasn't the offense. If anything, their offense kept them in games. It was their defense that let them down.
And I do like Kobe Durant, bringing him into the building as well.
Yeah, that's another big move.
That's a low key, quiet as cat.
It's a steal. It's definitely a steal. So we've seen a lot of positive activity in free agency.
I got one more.
Let me hear it.
This is not a team. Actually, this is a position group. It's interior offensive linemen, man. They just got paid out the wazoo during this cycle. Tyler Linderbaum's going to be making $27 million a year. Zion Johnson, who I don't even think is that good, $17 million if you round. David Andrews, $25 million to go to the New Orleans Saints. Elijah Vera Tucker, who cannot stay healthy to save his life. He's going to be making $14 million a year. When he's healthy, he's very good. Connor McGovern, $13 million for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, that's a lot of money going to interior offensive linemen. And, Tyler Linderbaum is the cream of the creme of this group, but those guys got paid this cycle. Same thing with rebounding quarterbacks. Kyler Murray goes to a good scenario. Tua Tagovailoa goes to a good scenario. So those guys have the opportunities to kind of revitalize their career. They're going to be in places where they could compete for playoff spots next season if they play well.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So,
I definitely agree.
But unfortunately, not everything in the world is positive as much as we'd like it all to be. We all like it to be sunshine and rainbows as it is St. Patrick's Day. But sometimes the leprechaun shows up and we don't like the leprechaun. Let's talk about some losers of NFL free agency this cycle. Christian, what do you got for me?
The Seattle Seahawks. I mean, you let the guy that single-handedly win you the Super Bowl walk. And Kenneth Walker III. I mean, he's still young. He's not older to the point where you hesitate and you don't want to pay him.
They did bring in Emmanuel Wilson.
Okay, but come on, man. This is Kenneth.
I'm kidding.
This is K-Dog. Come on, man. Really? Nah, but Kenneth Walker III was a big part of what they did offensively this year. I know Jackson Smith and Jigba is arguably their best offensive player. He did win Offensive Player of the Year, but man, what Kenneth Walker III did, he kept defenses honest, and it's going to be tough to replace that productivity.
Yeah, and I just they brought back Rashid Shaheed as well. I mean,
which is big.
I think they needed to do that, but yeah, losing Kenneth Walker, I mean, that's tough. And it's pretty rare. It's probably been, I'm not sure. I don't have that number in front of me, but it's probably been 10 years or more that the player that won the Super Bowl MVP was not on that team next to the season following. It's got to be pretty rare.
It's rare. Yeah.
It's got to be. You got to go back to Desmond Howard, when he won that MVP for the Packers or whatever that was, and then he goes to the Raiders that next offseason. I mean, that's the last thing that can really stands out that I can remember. I got a loser for you. It's in the AFC. I wonder if you can guess who it is.
A loser. Wow. In the AFC.
Actually, two of my losers are from the AFC, but I'm mostly picking one right now.
Okay. Can I get a division?
They play in the Midwest.
The Bengals.
Not the Bengals. It's the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
Alec Pierce giving him a 4-year, $114 million contract. I just don't. I don't.
That's
think
a head scratcher.
I just don't think he's worth that. He had one season where he was I know he's had moments in other seasons where he's been he shows flashes, but yeah, he was pretty good last year. But this is a guy you're not going to have to pay. I'm not sure I can't do that math right now, but it's $60 million in fully guaranteed money, $84 million in guarantees across the whole contract with some signing bonus stuff. I just don't know how good he is. And this contract may look bad in a couple of seasons. To talk about a contract that looks bad, Daniel Jones gets he just signed the most expensive 2-year contract in the history of the National Football League. He's coming off an Achilles tear where you're going to have to pay him now a contract that could be worth up to $100 million in fully guaranteed money. I don't get it. I mean, I know you couldn't let him leave because they didn't really have any other options. But that's a lot of money for a guy coming off an Achilles tear that probably won't even play in the first year of this contract. I just don't like it. I don't get it. I mean, who's going to play quarterback for the Colts next season? Because Dan Jones isn't going to be available for most of it.
Yeah. So, no, I can't disagree with you on anything you said. I mean, I thought they overcompensated Alec Pierce a little too much. Yeah, he's good for what they do, but you put him on any other team in the league, David, and he's probably the third or fourth option.
He's getting he signed the most expensive.
He's getting paid.
I believe that I may have this wrong. I think he signed the most expensive wide receiver contract in the history of the league.
He's getting paid like he's a number one wide receiver.
Yeah. So I don't get it. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You got another loser?
Not really at this moment. I mean, people want to say Baltimore, but I don't think they are. If anything, they kept 2 first-round picks. If anything, that makes them victorious.
I had them as a winner, so
yeah.
I think Max Crosby's got to be a loser, right? You think you're going to be going to another team. You're going to play with Lamar Jackson. You're going to be on the Baltimore Ravens, and you're going to go to Jesse Minter, one of the best young minds and defensive minds in the NFL, and then you're just back on the Raiders. And then you go out and you make this whole long post saying goodbye, and then you're just back in the building. It sucks.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's going to be. I guess he's recommitted. I don't know, but he's a loser for me.
I'm going to say the Patriots. Yes, they won 14 games. They were in the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel had a great year, but there are some question marks surrounding this team right now, especially in their receiver room, because this is why I said the Buffalo Bills are, I think, back in the driver's seat in the AFC East. They addressed an issue. Now, the Patriots have to do that, because if the Patriots can somehow go get A.J. Brown, David, then okay, we're looking at something. We're looking at them as the favorites to win the AFC East. But right now, I'm still sticking with Baltimore. I just don't think Romeo Doubs, one, he can't stay healthy. And two, he's very hit or miss. You never know what version of him you're going to get.
I'll swing back. I'll stay in the AFC, and I got to lose. I got the Miami Dolphins. I don't think people really realize how much money the Miami Dolphins are going to be paying players to not play for them. So they're still on the hook. So Bradley Chubb, they're still on the hook for that money. They're still on the money for Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Ramsey, now Jalen Waddle. There was somebody else that I'm forgetting right now off the top of my head, but they're paying and right now they're paying $76 million into 2 quarterbacks. One of them is not even on the team. And we talked about this to death. I just Malik Willis. He's had 3 games where he's been a competent quarterback in the National Football League, and they're gonna pay him damn near $30 million a year to be their quarterback. I guess it's more like 25, but that's a lot of money for a guy who's relatively unproven.
Yeah, I agree with you. That signing reminded me a lot of when, and I know you remember this, David, when the Houston Texans signed Brock Osweiler. Yeah, that's what this reminds me of a lot. Maybe he's going to prove himself. We don't know. I mean, the writing is on the wall. We really don't know. If I had to give you another loser, did you say Max Crosby? Did you say Max? Yeah, I agree with you on that, because here you are thinking, all right, there's brighter days ahead, and end up right back, at the starting point. You know what I'm saying? What about?
So I got another one for you.
Let me hear it.
For me, it's the Green Bay Packers. Relatively, I know they didn't really have a lot of cap space, but they've been relatively quiet, and they've lost some key contributors on both sides of the football from this football team from a season ago. So they lost Elton Jenkins, starting left guard. They traded away Rashawn Gary. I know they traded for Zaire Franklin. Great. You lose Quay Walker. You lose Malik Willis. You also lose Elton Jenkins. Like you just lose Quay Walker, another player. Like use key contributors on this football team that. Emmanuel Wilson, a good change of pace running back. Romeo Dobbs is no longer in the building. Weakening that wide receiving core a little bit. Rasheed Walker, who's your starting left tackle. I think the Packers, in my opinion, I think that they've let key pieces go that they're going to miss.
Okay, I got one. I'm sticking in with the AFC. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, they had a great year last year. Liam Cohen was a candidate for coach of the year. I thought Trevor Lawrence had the best year of his career since coming into the NFL. But, for them to get back to the playoffs next year, they're going to have to do it without three key guys. You lost Evan Lloyd.
Yeah.
And, you lost Greg Newsome. And you also lost Travis Etienne. And those were three key components to the puzzle last year.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that front as well. I mean, the Jaguars have been relatively quiet. I mean, they bring in DJ Dallas, he's more of a special teamer. Chris Rodriguez Jr. as well, special teamer. They're really banking on the fact that Basil Tootin is going to take a major step forward. And good luck, I guess. I don't know. I think we'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We'll see. From there, let's just talk about each individual contracts. Let's talk about the best contract you saw get signed during this cycle.
It's got to be Kenneth Walker III. I mean, look, the Chiefs saw an opportunity. They cashed in. And David, how many times did I say to you last year and even in the offseason, if the Chiefs had gone after Breece Hall, I think this season would have been a lot more different last year than how it unfolded for them. This can work for them if they commit to it. They need a guy that can, wear down defenses, and they just don't have that. It was all pass. Nah, be able to throw a defense off and run the football. Yeah, Kenneth Walker is a gem. He's gonna fit in perfectly to what they want to do in Kansas City. And Eric Bieniemy is back. Definitely this.
For me, I liked I really did like the Rick Woolen going through the Philadelphia Eagles. A 1 year, $15 million deal. I'm not sure why his market was so low. Like he's a really good football player. The fact that he didn't sign a multi-year contract somewhere, just kind of a little head scratching. But I mean, you get a guy who's gonna have a chip on his shoulder going into Philadelphia. They could use a corner like him who's a ball hawk who can really get after it. I like that signing for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
And it's really low risk. So I mean, yeah.
And then obviously, like what you mentioned, what the Rams did, filling those voids, getting Jalen Waddle, and Jalen, what was his name again? Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie. That they could be scary because this is already a really good defense, and you add those two pieces, two guys with some championship pedigree, and I think they can put this defense over the top.
I also forgot to mention I had the Lions as a bit of a loser as well. I mean, they've been relatively inactive during free agency. I know they didn't really have cap space to really do anything, but the fact that they traded away David Montgomery and then they kind of just have been they brought in Isaiah Pacheco, which is fine. But I mean, they've been relatively pretty quiet during this free agency cycle. From the best deal or the best contract, let's talk about the worst contract. What do you guys your worst contract?
It's got to be Alec Pierce.
It's either Alec Pierce or the other Colts package contract.
It's either Alec Pierce or Atlanta giving Tua a contract. There's such a mess right now. The Falcons.
I like Tua Tagovailoa in Atlanta. They still haven't released Kirk Cousins, right? He's still there, right?
They released him.
Okay. Yeah, but you have Michael Penix who's coming off the ACL tear, might not play at least the start of the season. Tua Tagovailoa can just be there and just be the guy.
Yeah, but does Tua move the needle, David? That's the thing.
No, but is he an upgrade over Michael Penix? I think so.
We shall find out.
I guess we'll find out. That contract is so low risk for the Atlanta Falcons.
It's
very difficult to even hate on it. You get the veteran minimum. They don't have to pay him anything. If he doesn't work out, they just cut him. It's hard to hate on a contract with that little risk.
You're not wrong. I can't disagree with you, but yeah. Okay, all right. You brought me to the light.
But I mean, if you want to talk about bad contracts, saying at the quarterback position, Indianapolis Colts giving Daniel Jones the richest 2-year contract in the history of the National Football League makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, he is not going to play in the first year of this contract, and you're going to be paying him damn near $45 million a year. I like whoever Danny Dimes' agent is, man. That guy's made some crazy money in his career, and like he hasn't been good for most of his career, and he's made like damn near $300 million in his contract over the course of his career. So kudos to him and kudos to his agent, but this contract blows. It's terrible. It's not a good deal. Like,
how do you feel? I'm looking at what the Bengals did, signing Jonathan Allen. He can't stay healthy. I just don't think
he wasn't good last season either.
No, he wasn't at all. And on top of that, like, you never know what version of him you're gonna get, and this doesn't fix anything for the Cincinnati Bengals, if you ask me, on their defense.
And they're also going to be paying him kind of a bunch of money. I mean, they're going to be paying him 2 years, 26. Like this is not a 1 year deal where it's like very little like risk on the for the Bengals. Like, this is a contract. This guy's going to get paid, and he's going to be there for 2 years probably.
Yeah.
But I do like them getting Brian Cook. That's a pretty good deal. He's one of the better corners of safeties in the National Football League and super underrated. So. But all that could have been avoided. They just paid Jesse Bates in the first place. But that's neither here nor there.
No, don't get me started. don't get me started.
From there, let's talk about best value. And for me, the best value has got to be the contracts that they signed for some of these quarterbacks. I mean, you get Kyler Murray on the veteran minimum, makes the Minnesota Vikings a clear upgrade at the quarterback position, should make them right, depending on how he looks, because he hasn't really played much the last couple of seasons, coming off that injury, and then got hurt last season. But that should make Minnesota a playoff team, or a playoff caliber team, given the weapons on that team. And then you got Tua Tagovailoa going to the Atlanta Falcons. I know you don't like it, but I mean, those contracts have so little risk involved. Like, they're such good value, and what they could get out of those contracts and out of those players, it's very similar to, like, the Sam Darnold thing a couple of years ago. Well, not quite, because Sam Darnold was getting paid a little bit of money by Minnesota when he signed originally. But those contracts have very little risk.
I like what the Tennessee Titans did. They were active, they were aggressive. I know this is a young football team, but I think Robert Saleh is going to be really good for this program, because I said this about Daniel Jones last year, and I'm going to apply the same. Either you can handle it in New York or you can't. And, I think now that he's in Nashville, the spotlight isn't as bright as what it was when he was here in East Rutherford, even though I thought he got the short end of the stick in East Rutherford. But the Titans, they've bolstered up that defense. And one thing I will give Robert is the defenses in New York when he was with the Jets were pretty good for most of the time. And I expect this Titans defense to come out and attack early on when the season starts, David.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I also really like the Tyler Linderbaum contract.
Yeah, I like that signing.
I mean, he's one of the premier centers in the league. I mean, him and Creed Humphrey are like 1 and 2 interchangeably. And you're going to be bringing in a young quarterback with Fernando Mendoza in the draft. I mean, you don't want to give him some stuff to work with. When you bring in Jalen Naylor, that contract is crazy rich for me for what he has been in his career. So, I mean, you have to give a young quarterback a shot, and they don't really have anybody in their wide receiver room. When you look at it right now, it's like Trey Tucker and just some stuff. Jalen Naylor at least becomes instant wide receiver too. Although that money is bananas for a guy who's not that good. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, he's getting paid like $15 million a year. All right, okay, But Tyler Linderbaum, I think that's a home run signing, like a really good best value contract. On the other side, worst value. I hate everything the Colts did. I hate to keep bringing it back up and just kind of harping on it, but both of those contracts are terrible value. They don't make any sense whatsoever. It doesn't. It's real head scratching. I don't get it.
Yeah, me either. I don't think you're wrong. Look, I like the Ravens getting Trey Hendrickson, but it still doesn't fix their big issue, David. They struggled significantly to stop the run. And you've been watching football as long as I have. The Ravens are historically known to do what? Stop the run and make you one-dimensional. And teams ran that football left and right. Trey can't stop the run. I thought Max would have been the better fit for them because he's actually one of the better run stoppers. He rushes the passer and plays the run with the same energy all the time.
And I totally agree with you. That I also low key kind of like what the San Francisco 49ers. I know we're on worst contract, but I just keep scrolling through this list here, and I'm looking at some of the stuff that the teams have done. I really like what the San Francisco 49ers did. Bringing in Mike Evans. I mean, that was a home run signing. Probably going to lose Juwan Jennings. I don't think he's signed anywhere yet, but I think if he was going to be back in San Francisco, I think it already would have happened by now, given that there's been literally no conversation about him potentially coming back. And if I do live in San Francisco and I do work at a TV station and I haven't heard a thing. And then I do like them bringing in Osa Odigizua. Look at that, Christian. Pronounced it right on the first try. Let's go, baby. Getting him from the Dallas Cowboys, I think it's a good trade. And I know people are like, so the internet is having a fun with Mike Evans because he's kind of been banged up the last couple seasons a little bit. And, the San Francisco 49ers have that weird conspiracy theory about that electrical plant that's near their practice facility causing all their injuries. And if you haven't heard that conspiracy theory, you should look it up. It's quite the read.
Yeah, I might have to now.
It's good stuff. But yeah, I like what the San Francisco 49ers did. Yeah.
Man, Seattle lost some key pieces. I mean, what are they going to do to bolster up that secondary? They lost Kobe Bryant. He's a Bear. How do you feel about the Bears losing Jaquan Brisker?
I'm okay with it. I mean, at the end of the day, we were never going to be able to bring back everyone. Like we needed to shed some salary. Jaquan Brisker spent the last much of the last 2 seasons being a little bit banged up. And so, yeah, it's tough to see him leave. But I think overall, I think the Bears did a pretty damn good job in free agency. I like the Devin Bush coming over. I think he had a really good season in Cleveland last year. I do like, obviously getting Kobe Bryant. And they had to quit. I like Jagger Wills too coming over. When that guy's healthy, when he was like the Baker Mayfield left Browns, and that guy was a pretty good offensive lineman tackle there for a little bit. And then he had Drew Dahlman, obviously retired. Do the right thing for your family, do if that's what you need to do. But immediately pivoting and trading for Gary Bradbury, who could start for this team immediately next season. I like, and then Neville Gallimore, another guy, defensive tackle, is going to have the opportunity to get after the pressure, get a good football player. They still need another edge rusher, which they did not address, and the Lions also did not address their other edge rusher. So, I mean, that's what the draft is for, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you don't see anybody that's really catching your eye at the free agent, at the free agent period, yeah, like you said, that is what the draft is for. And this is a draft that is just stockpile upon talent, if you ask me.
Yeah. So some notable names that have not yet been signed. Let's just go through them rapid fire, and you just tell me where you think they're going to end up. We are going to skip Stephon Diggs because of his legal stuff. I don't really feel comfortable talking about him right now. Tyreek Hill.
Wow. Tyreek Hill. Why not? I think he's going back to Kansas City.
I'm going to tend to agree with you on that. I think they're going to find a way to make that happen. Deebo Samuel, who's shockingly still not signed, had that one season in Washington, was just okay. Seems to have regressed a little bit over the last couple seasons. Deebo Samuel.
Deebo. I could see him in Miami. I could see that. I think he will bring a really good. I
mean, they're going to need to do something at the wide receiver position. I mean, you play Malik Willis a bunch of money, and then who's their number one? Who even is the number one wide receiver in Miami right now? I literally have no idea. Is it the kid that was in Buffalo that came over there? Hold on, we're gonna have to look that up real quick because I literally do not know. Was it Tyler Sherwood? Is that his name?
Yeah.
I don't think Tyler is his first name.
What, Tyrell?
Malik Washington become, and Jalen Tolbert become wide receiver 1 and 2, and Tudo Atwell is apparently on this roster as well.
Oh God,
as 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, they're going to need to do something at wide receiver. I do not think it will be Deebo Samuel. I think he wants to go somewhere he can potentially compete for a title. I'm going to see him go to San Francisco, or not San Francisco, New England.
Not a bad move. That wouldn't be a bad move.
Yeah. How about Bryce Huff? Edge rusher was there for San Francisco, played pretty well last season, had a pretty good season for the Eagles 2 years ago. Bryce Huff.
Why not the Bears? They need an edge rusher. Why not?
Bring it on,
Why
baby.
not? I mean, look. Me personally, I would have loved to have seen the Bears go after Jalen Phillips. I thought that was a hand in glove fit for them, and you saw the impact he had on the Eagles. I think he would have had that same impact on the Bears because
unfortunately, the Bears just straight up could not afford to give the contract that he ended up getting from the Carolina Panthers.
You're right,
who like backed up the Brinks truck for him and Devin Lloyd in 2 pretty savvy moves by the Carolina Panthers for next season. So. Jonas Smith.
Bears for
I'm loving it. I'm gonna keep that. I like that. Let's go with it. How about Jonas Smith? Leaves by the leaves by the Steelers. Pretty solid tight end. You had a spot for him?
Jonnu Smith. Wow. Okay, hear me out, David. Why not Kansas City? We don't know how much longer Travis Kelce has. This could be it.
This is it.
I think this is it. Let him come in, be tight end 2, let him learn, and then the first year without Travis, he's tight end 1. I'm gonna say Kansas City.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I think I kind of like that player combination. And this one is the last one that we're going to do, and then we'll go to head scratching. Your boy, Christian. Russell Wilson. Where does Russell Wilson end up?
He'll be doing what I'm doing next fall.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he'll be doing, because I think he's going to end up on CBS with Nate and Bill Cowher and JB, because you remember Matt Ryan left.
Yeah,
he's the president of football in Atlanta. And yeah, they need one more guy because it's been a 4-person desk the last couple years, and I think it's going to be him. I mean, I think Russell Wilson's seen better days now at this point.
I don't want to see Russell Wilson as just back up, like bouncing around.
Exactly. Just retire.
Russell Wilson's going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, he doesn't have anything left to prove.
See, okay, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Maybe he's in the Hall of Very Good. I
think he's in the Hall of Very Good. I don't, because when I think of a Hall of Famer, I think of you being a staple and a fixture at your position for at least 5 years. Can we say
Russell Wilson was for sure that, man? He was for sure. Like, he's got a ring. He should have 2. Pete Carroll. I don't know, man. But I think the NFL is going to have trouble with a lot of this crop of quarterbacks that have come from this particular era because Tom Brady won every Super Bowl and had Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, right? And Eli Manning. They just won all the Super Bowls. Like, so you have a lot of quarterbacks in this era of that particular era of the NFL that like have crazy accolades. Like, they have crazy passing numbers. They have all these touchdown passes. They just don't have any jewelry to be like, and they don't have any VPs either because those guys won everything. Like if you're Phillip Rivers, like I passed for 1 trillion yards, but I never won a Super Bowl. I never played in the Super Bowl. I never won an MVP.
Yeah, but look at the era he played in, and look at the conference he played in. He played in the AFC with a prime Brady, a prime Peyton Manning, and a prime Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes, so I think Russell Wilson gets in.
But if I had to pick a team for Russell, I would say the Raiders.
Okay, maybe. Having Mendoza. I guess. And then the last one, we talk about head scratching deals. You got a head scratching deal for something that you saw go down, and you're like, I don't. That's okay.
Um, head scratching. I mean, I think we've touched on it a couple of times. Just what what the what the Colts did. Like they overpay Alec Pierce in the worst way possible. I mean, nothing more really needs to be said, David.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, I'm just looking through the list here, and like, I mean, I guess the head scratch. I mean, the pulling the plug on that Max Crosby trade it's got to be up there as one of the weirdest things I could ever remember happening in the National Football League, where you have a contract, you have a trade that feels done, and then like 5 days later, all of a sudden the trade is off the table. Like it was just unreal. Like I remember like seeing that in real time. I'm like, I don't really. Oh my god! Like I can't believe like kudos to the Ravens. I mean, they ended up making a good decision, I guess. I mean, I guess if you want to put it that way.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe. But we'll never know.
But yeah, that's been our NFL free agency recap so far, 2026. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. We're going to be swinging into the UFL content tomorrow. We're going to give you a full season preview. There are new rules. There are new teams. There are new, like just the way the game is going to be played there for the UFL. We're going to break down all that stuff for you guys as we try to be the number one hub for all things UFL. But yeah, we will be swinging back into the NFL. We're talking about the draft that's coming up here in about a month now. We're going to talk about free agency as we continue to get things through, as we continue just to kind of get through the dog days of the offseason of the National Football League. Christian, you got anything on the horizon over there on the Daily Blitz blog that you're working on, or anything you want to shamelessly plug right now?
I do have another mock coming, David. Shall we give it to him one time?
Yeah.
Shall we? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. On my count. 1, 2, 3.
Shameless plug number one, baby. A little rusty there, but we'll work on it.
We'll work on it. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a while, but nah, man, it was great to be back on with you. I'm going to have to come back and do this again with you.
Absolutely.
Very soon.
But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. I'm, of course, your host, David Onpoint, helping right there for the Daily Blitz blog. It's Christian Simpson. And a happy St. Patrick's Day from everybody here at Prime Sports World. And Christian, what do we do at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, baby.
That's right, kind sir. We'll be back here tomorrow with UFL content, and then we're on Thursday. We're going to wrap it up with the WWE stuff as well. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We like what we're doing here. We'll see you all later. Take it easy, Christian. Peace out, brother.
Yep.